Because if you come to our country illegally in violation of our immigration laws, then we have the mandate, and in fact, we have the legal duty to enforce those immigration laws. Whether he's been placed on administrative leave, I don't know the answer to that question. I'd refer it to the Department of Homeland Security, and they can follow up. I will say, look, I would appreciate everybody saying a prayer for that agent. Look, in the past 6 months, he has been hit twice by a motor vehicle.
But importantly, deadly force may not be used solely to prevent the escape of a fleeing suspect.
So what we're trying to figure out is, right, what exactly happened? I got a breakdown of exactly what happened with an angle that could show us exactly what it is. I got my own opinions. Now, we got a breakdown of the officer. Man, that nigga's different.
The ICE agent who fatally shot protester Renee Good in Minneapolis is a Trump-supporting Christian and war veteran who has a Filipino wife, according to family. Jonathan Ross has been identified as the agent who opened fire on Good on January 7th after the feds allege she tried to mow him down with her SUV on the suburban street. The 43-year-old is believed to have worked as an ICE agent since at least 2013. Based in Minneapolis full-time, he is a member of the ICE ERO Special Response Team, a specially trained tactical unit, law enforcement sources told the Post.
How the fuck is he an ICE agent with a Filipino woman? That's the first thing I said. I said, oh, the shit. I thought, where's y'all trying to get rid of these people?
As anti-ICE protests erupted across the country in the wake of the shooting, the agent's family rushed to his defense, telling the Daily Mail, "You would never find a nicer, kinder person. He's a committed, conservative Christian, a tremendous father, a tremendous husband. I couldn't be more proud of him," his dad, Ed Ross, said. The Iraq war veteran married his wife, who hasn't been identified publicly, in 2012. Ross's dad said his son's wife was a U.S. citizen, but wouldn't say how long she's been in the country. In the past, the wife has shared photos on social media of herself posing alongside a U.S. Border Patrol helicopter.
You know what? Thank you, Lady T. She's still of immigrant status, so shouldn't they be taking his wife? I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but shouldn't they be taking his wife? I don't know.
The details on Ross's background emerged after it was revealed he had had a run-in with an illegal immigrant in Bloomington, Minnesota last June that saw him dragged 100 yards during a traffic stop, and he was hospitalized with significant injuries to his arm and hand, requiring 33 stitches. Resurfaced ring camera footage originally obtained by CBS WCCO reveals what happened during the incident, which happened on June 17th in Bloomington, Minnesota. Roberto Carlos Munoz, the illegal immigrant from Guatemala with a lengthy rap sheet who dragged Ross, was arrested and charged with assaulting the officer and was convicted by a federal jury.
That's what I wanted to go with this. This officer was damn near ran over not too long ago, and the nigga dragged this whole shit. And I think I hit him in another scenario. So he's paranoid of cars. He's paranoid of this shit. So when the lady, I don't know what took him to stand there, okay, after usually dragged like a goddamn 100 yards, okay, but now he's paranoid of cars. So when the lady he did what he had to do. I'm not gonna lie. Now I kind of understand. I don't agree, but I understand where his mind was at.
In regards to the latest incident surrounding Ross, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem said he had acted in self-defense and was justified in opening fire, and that Good was part of a mob of agitators attempting to thwart ICE's efforts in enforcing President Trump's immigration crackdown. The shooting poured gasoline on the long smoldering tensions between federal immigration agents and protesters who have fought back, at times violently, against the presence of agencies like ICE enforcing the law in their communities.
Vice President Vance, however, early yesterday morning, called the woman a deranged leftist. This is how the vice president responded in a press conference.
Before the vice president speaks, all right, before the vice president speaks, we can agree. If you remember the incident, her girlfriend was the antagonizer. She told a nigga, go get some lunch, big boy. She was talking tough. Now you gotta understand that. If a man's talking tough to another man talking tough, man, maybe the ICE agent would have punched him in his mouth or something. I don't know. Threw him to the ground or some shit. You know what I'm saying? You looking at a woman who identifies herself as a man, but you can't punch her in the mouth like a man. So he pissed off. They were agitators. They were definitely agitators.
On duty, or has he been placed on leave, on administrative leave? And what really was the target of the operation on Wednesday? Of the ICE operation on Wednesday?
Well, first of all, it was a legitimate law enforcement operation. We were going door to door to try to find criminal illegal aliens and deport them from the United States of America. Because
we were going door to door to try to find illegal aliens. How is that right? You're going door to door. So what are you going to do? So imagine the police come to my door. Boom, 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 boom. Who's in the house? The fuck you mean who's in the house? Nigga, you got a warrant?
America, because if you come to our country illegally in violation of our immigration laws, then we have the mandate, and in fact, we have the legal duty to enforce those immigration laws. Whether he's been placed on administrative leave, I don't know the answer to that question. I'd refer it to the Department of Homeland Security, and they can follow up. I will say, look, I would appreciate everybody saying a prayer for that agent. Look, in the past 6 months, he has been hit twice by a motor vehicle.
In the past 6 months, he's been hit twice by a motor vehicle. Sounds like he's clumsy as fuck. Sounds like he can't walk and chew gum at the same time. And that's hard to do. I'm not gonna lie. Walking and chewing gum in public is one of the hardest things to do. You know what I'm saying? And as a police officer, he doesn't figure it out. It's hard.
I'm going to show you the moment an immigration officer shoots and kills a woman in Minneapolis. 37-year-old Renee Good. It's disturbing, but it's critical to understanding how the law will handle those who enforce it. And really, it boils down to about 3 seconds and 3 shots fired. The driver of an SUV reverses, pulls forward, and the agent in harm's way shoots and kills. These crucial moments, and very possibly this video in particular, the clearest I've yet to see, form much of the basis of the official government account of what happened. That the driver was a violent rioter who weaponized her vehicle in an attempt to kill, and that the ICE officer, fearing for his life, fired defensive shots. Within hours of the incident, Donald Trump would agree with that version of events, saying the driver of the SUV violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer, while also claiming the officer seems to have shot her in self-defense.
This vehicle was used to hit this officer. It was used as a weapon, and the officer feels as though his life was in jeopardy.
I'm going to take you frame by frame through what we know from video evidence, expert opinion, and hard rules on the use of force, all of which could be used to determine whether this was indeed self-defense or something else.
Don't let the murderer leave!
We want the murderer of Renee Nicole Good to be brought to justice.
According to the Department of Homeland Security, ICE agents were carrying out a quote-unquote targeted operation in Minneapolis, and the official account is that civilians were trying to block them in. Video of the shooting about to unfold appears to support this, with this dark red SUV blocking the road, and these are ICE agents approaching the driver's side.
Oh, hell no. See, I didn't see that part there. Nah, that changes everything. Holy fuck. That just changed everything. They were being antagonized. Listen, bro. Even though the ICE agents are fucking wrong, they're doing a job. The job was set from the president. So no matter what we say about the job is the job. Okay? So I can't say anything about the door story. I can't. I can't. It's a job. But this lady was parked goddamn horizontally, blocking the entire road. That changes everything. To me, that changes everything. Because what you're saying is, you want the smoke. Yeah, you want the smoke. You park your car in a way to say, yo, nah, this is why the vice president them can say they're fucking extreme leftists or whatever they call it. And I can see what they say that now.
We can see from this other angle, the SUV is actually parked here for some period of time. This man right here is the officer who within moments you will see drawing his gun. He's filming the car, walking around it, then disappears out of frame. Back to the other angle. The armed, hooded agents approach, ordering the driver blocking their way to get out of the car. You can see here, the reverse lights go on. Just a split second before, this ICE agent puts his hand on the door handle. He's going to try to open that door, but it's locked.
No!
The voice we're hearing there is of a bystander. What we can't hear is the driver herself. That's a key piece of evidence we're missing, because when weighing the totality of what's happened, the apparent fight or flight of the driver absolutely factors in.
That can include verbal cues, facial tics, whatever you're seeing. Someone has a look in their eye, you need to get in there, interview the officers who are right there, interview the officer himself involved in the shooting, get a better understanding of what it was he was seeing and what led him to believe that this posed such an imminent danger.
No!
Now, if we pause the video again right here, a whole series of things are about to happen in rapid succession, and I'll break them down one by one. First, you'll notice the reverse lights are off. The car's back in drive, and for the briefest of moments, at a complete stop. Second, the agent who just tried to open the driver's side door has now reached inside the vehicle itself. But third, and most importantly, we now see a third ICE officer emerge. This is the one we saw earlier, filming the vehicle circling around it. He's in front of the vehicle now, and he's drawing his gun.
There's no restriction about when you can take your weapon out of your holster or not, but normally it's when you feel like you are a potential threat. For instance, if you're engaged in an arrest, you have your weapon out in most cases during an arrest.
It's as the vehicle starts to accelerate forward, turning to the right, away from the officer with the gun, he fires 3 distinct shots. The driver immediately loses control of the vehicle. Seconds later, it crashes hard into a parked vehicle on the side of the road, and we learn later the driver's dead.
Oh my God! What the What the
So knowing how the altercation ends, let's play that video out once again without stopping and starting. Then we'll consider whether this supports or discredits the Trump administration version of events.
No! No! Shame! Shame!
In considering the federal narrative of what happened, let's go from easy to hard. Recall the story told by the President of the United States that the driver of the SUV violently, willfully, and viciously ran over the ICE officer. It is incorrect to say the ICE officer was run over, because he wasn't. He's on his feet in front of the vehicle as the driver hits the gas. He appears to almost jump out of the way, and by the time he's firing his second and third shots, he's clear of the vehicle's path.
He jumped out the way, you saw it. By the time he's letting the second and third shots off, the car is already spun off. So that is not an accurate depiction of what they are telling us. That's what I'm saying. What she caused it. He shot her 3 times. There you go. Shot her 3 times. I don't see how she caused that. I really believe it's the history of what he's already been through that caused him to react like that. I think if it was another officer who had not have been dragged this the other day, who not been knocked down by 2 cars, because now you got to think in his mind, I don't trust nobody in a car. So if that car is coming towards me, I'm letting it off, based off of what he's been through. Is it right? No, it's not. But I can understand where his mind was at. But I don't think he got hit. He jumped out the goddamn way. He jumped out.
He's still standing, even as the driver loses control. And within seconds, he's walking towards the car after it's crashed. What we can't be sure of at this point is whether he was actually clipped by the car. Trump's account is that the officer took time to recover in hospital, and he offered this video as proof that the officer was indeed hit. From this angle, it does seem possible that he was, but it's not conclusive. The video is so grainy, and honestly, it's hard to tell whether the compression of the zoom is just making it look like he was hit, or whether he was actually hit. Going back to this angle, it's still not totally clear to me whether he was or wasn't. It's hard to tell if he's pushed back by the car or he's simply jumping back out of the way. In any case, The real legal question at hand isn't actually so much about whether the officer was run over. It's whether he was justified in shooting and killing the driver.
As he was crossing in front of a vehicle, which the training says you shouldn't do that. You shouldn't cross in front of a vehicle.
And whether the training was followed is one thing to consider. This policy directive from the Department of Homeland Security states DHS law enforcement officers should avoid intentionally and unreasonably placing themselves in positions in which they have no alternative to using deadly force. Translation, if you truly believe the subject you're dealing with is a violent and dangerous rioter, it is not standard procedure to then step in front of the vehicle that they're driving. But what about when the situation turns deadly?
What I see is very clear. I see somebody not listening to law enforcement, backing up, accelerating right into an ICE agent. What do you see?
What I see is a vehicle being used as a deadly force weapon. And that, in my opinion, based on my training, deadly force is justified.
ICE has its own handbook, its own principles governing the use of force. And here's the entry on deadly force, which stipulates it may only be used in situations when an officer has probable cause that the detainee poses an imminent danger of death or serious physical injury to the officer or to another person. But importantly, deadly force may not be used solely to prevent the escape of a fleeing suspect. Look again.
Oh, it's over. God damn it. God damn it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Deadly force. Let me repeat it. Deadly force may not be used solely. May not be used solely to prevent escape of a fleeing suspect. That means he's going to prison. There's no way around it. If that's the language in your books, you know what I'm saying? You're supposed to be going to prison.
So let's look again at the clearest video we have. The operative question here, which really only a thorough investigation is going to be able to answer. Was this driver fleeing from ICE agents or actually trying to run one over? And importantly, whether it was reasonable for the officer to think it was the latter.
All right, that brings us to the end of that segment. But to conclude what we were saying, Lady T, she was 100% fleeing. That lady was not trying to fight. No way. If it was the girlfriend, yes. I think the girlfriend was the driver, I'd understand. I'm like, yo, that bitch is out of pocket. She talked too goddamn much, she's too loud. I'm not saying it would have been right. I'm not saying that, but I would have understood. In this situation, I don't understand. And she was trying to flee. So now they're going to try to prove, was she trying to flee or was she, you know what I'm saying? But then I don't know, man. It's going to come down to, hey, well, why were you parking your car in the middle of the road? Then maybe she could just say, I'm just being a protester. And I'm wrong with protesting now.